Ladies and gentlemen, Hex community of all ages, hey, Jake Freedom here, coming to you live from YouTube for this week's Showcase Card of the Week. Hopefully you've been following along in the previous weeks here so you know how it kind of works. So let's go ahead and get started and figure out what color we're going to talk about this week. Let's go ahead and roll the 1d6, and we get a 4. We're going to be talking about Wild. I think it was a couple weeks ago we talked about a Wild card. I think it was Wild Root Dancer. It might have been week 2 maybe, I'm not sure. Alright, so we got Wild. Let's see how many rows we got here to figure out what die we're going to roll here. We're going to be a 1d4 or 1d6. So we're going to do 1d6 since we have 5 rows here. So let's go ahead and do that again. Talking about row 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to talk about this row here. Let's go ahead and roll the 1d20. Anything over 13, we're going to discard, obviously, since we only have 13 cards displayed. 14. Oh, no good. And 11. So we got 13, 12, 11. This week's Showcase Card of the Week is Genesis Hydra. Genesis Hydra, 4 cost, 2 Wild Threshold. Troop for 4/4. Card text reads, when this troop is dealt damage, it gets permanent +1/+1. Now, I'm not a big fan of cards that once they get dealt damage, you know, that they get +1/+1. You know, I don't know. I mean, this is kind of a toss-up here. So if he gets dealt damage, he's going to get +1/+1. It's permanent +1/+1. So if you can block with this guy and keep him alive, you know, this could be, I don't know. Maybe this is actually a pretty good card here. 4 cost, 2 threshold, 4/4. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go along with this one and say, yeah, this is a good card here, and only use him for blocking when you have the chance to actually survive when you're blocking. So yeah, he could be used very well to block some actual troops there, as long as he's going to stay alive. God, he could really be well too. He could really go against. He could be paired well against stuff too that were. You know, maybe he gets invincible. Maybe you could throw like I don't know, Spell Shield on him maybe, so you can keep him alive even longer. Spell Shield's a blue card or a sapphire card there. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna say this card's an 8.5. You know, if you can pair him well with something, or just, you know, bring him out early enough so you can block some smaller stuff, then he'd be really great. So since it's in a Wild deck, I mean, 4 cost, 2 threshold, he shouldn't be too terribly hard to pull out early. I wouldn't think. You know, you could probably, depending on how the cards played in your favor, would dictate on how early you could actually get him out here. But minimum, you know, get him out on turn 4, and if you could keep him alive, get him away from. You know, you couldn't burn him. Take a couple rage fires to get away from him. He could definitely be murdered. So you'd have to, like I said, that's where the Spell Shield would come into play. Let's see, Extinction would be able to throw him down. Extinction, though, I think. God, what is the casting cost of Extinction? Let's put blood back up here. Extinction, is that 3 or is that 4? Gosh, I don't remember anymore. They keep changing everything. Okay, Extinction's 4 costs, so if you can get him out before Extinction comes around, you know, you can keep him alive for that. Bombsmith, anything like that, you know, I mean, it would take 2 burns to get him off, but like I said, you know, if you can keep him alive with, let's get up here and just throw a Spell Shield up here. There's a card in here that, right here, Arcane Shield, you know, target shoot with permanent spell shields. You could use him to get around some cards there. You could buff him. You could buff him with Command Tower. So yeah, I think that the Genesis Hydra here is a very well balanced card, well built card, and I don't see any changes being needed to him at all. Obviously, he's not going to stay alive forever. But if you could keep him alive for at least 2 or 3 hits, you know, he's going to become, you know, a 7/7. Even if you get one successful round out of him, you know, you're still going to be doing 4/4 or doing 4 damage to the champion. So yeah, not a bad card at all. I like this one a lot here. So, like I said, 8, 8.5 on my scale of 1 to 10. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and maybe you guys have some other different combos you can play with him that I can't think of right off the top of my head, and we can talk about. And just a quick note too, if you are playing this card with a green-red deck, and you possibly have Burn or Rage Fire in your hand, you can actually ping your own troop to deal damage to him to buff him up that way. That's one way you can do it. I just thought about that after I cut the video off there and said, oh, you know what, you could do this, because I know if any of us here have played Hearthstone, that there are some troops in there that are enraged, and if you are playing the mage, and the mage can ping its own troops and buff them up to get them to actually be enraged. So this would be one way you could possibly do that, is you could use the Burn or if this one we had out there, you had Heat Wave. You throw Heat Wave down to deal 2 damage to him. Like I said, Rage Fire. If it's the first round of Rage Fire, deal 2 damage to him, ping him, to get him buffed up there. So that's another way you could do it, and another way you could combo with him. So if you like the video, go and give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of these here, go ahead and click the subscribe button below. We'll have another video for you soon.